Hey everybody, it's Monday, December 11th, 2023. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Show presented by Subway. It's me, your man, MG Marcus Grant, with Michael F. Florio, specialist in the building. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was a very polite golf clap. Thank you for everything you do to help us put this show on, and thank all of you out there for engaging with us, whether audio, video, social media, what have you. All right, we are mostly through week 14. We have 2 Monday night games this week. 2 of them at the exact same time. That's weird. This was not a fun week, man. Like, it's already been a bad season in terms of injuries, and then we lose. I mean, we'll get to it a little bit, but man, it's bad out there right now.
Yeah, it is rough. I keep saying, like, enjoy it while we have it, because there's only 3 more weeks of this left for fantasy football, but it is certainly going to be harder to navigate and to figure out because of all the injuries and all of that. But if you're in the playoffs, you got a chance this year because every team is dealing with injuries.
Every single team is dealing with injuries, especially at the quarterback position. It is brutal out there. We've gotten through all the buys. That's the good news. So every team's roster is available to you, even if not all their players are available to you. We're going to have the biggest takeaways from week 14. We'll do top performers and disappointments as always, fan questions, and as normal, Matt O'Connell will join us near the end of the show to talk some waiver wire targets. Let's get started, though, as we normally do, with some fantasy headlines and things looking bleak in Houston. CJ Stroud left the game with a concussion. Nico Collins left early in the game on Sunday with a calf injury. Now, this is on top of the fact that Tank Dell is already out for the season with a broken fibula. It looks like it may be Davis Mills starting at quarterback. Does this mean it's over for Houston's offense in fantasy this year?
For as long as CJ Stroud is sidelined, yes. But I guess the good news, if quote unquote good news, is that it is a concussion. So hopefully in a week, I wouldn't even rule out him potentially suiting up next week. We've seen players come back fast. It's going to be a monitor all week long situation. But if and when CJ Stroud returns, even if Nico Collins is out, I think like Noah Brown becomes a streaming option. Dalton Schultz is obviously in play when he's healthy. So it's over as long as he is sidelined. But when he comes back, they're back.
So when I first saw this yesterday, I was like, it's over. I was super pessimistic. I'm like, it's a wrap. Then I started to think, well, okay, we're not going to start Davis Mills, right? We don't even have to have that conversation. But Davis Mills is going to stand back there and sling the rock. Yeah. And so maybe Noah Brown does still have some opportunity. A healthy Dalton Schultz, maybe he still has some opportunity. Like, Davis Mills is probably going to, he'll be a little scatter shot, and he might throw some to the other team, but I think he will throw the ball a lot because they still can't run it all that well. So maybe it's not completely over, but certainly losing Nico Collins, hopefully it's not too serious. We'll see. And not having Tank Dell, it's a big blow to an offense that really was carrying, I think, a lot of fantasy teams.
And so let's say he's back for the fantasy semifinals and you make it there. The Texans played the Browns in week 16, and the Browns and the Jets are the 2 secondaries allowing the fewest passing yards this year. As poorly, because look, he got hurt late in that game. He struggled against the Jets defense. I know we'll talk about it in 2 weeks, but like right now, I think it's okay to get a contingency plan for that week, even if you have CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing at this point. Hopefully, this is a short-term issue for both him and Collins. We'll see. But just to go from being so awesome to just losing everybody that was getting it done for you is disappointing. Justin Jefferson, grand opening, grand closing. He comes back after missing several weeks with a hamstring injury, and he was not out there very long before he took a wicked shot and had to leave the game with a chest injury. Now, he went to the hospital, was released, was able to fly home from Vegas to Minnesota with the team, and head coach Kevin O'Connell is trying to be optimistic. Now, we have very little information about this right now, but it's a short week for the Vikings. They play on Saturday, so it may not be possible for Jefferson to get ready. And then at that point, I mean, what do they do with him? I mean, he's already been out. They're still sort of hanging around playoff contention. What are we doing with him right now?
I think you have to just hold him unless we hear that he's going on IR or something like that, and that would end his fantasy season because there's only 3 games left. IR is a minimum of 4. But if there's a chance that Justin Jefferson can come back in the fantasy playoffs, he is so good that I think you have to hold him. And I think that there is a strong chance of that because as of right now, the Vikings are the 6th seed in the NFC. And whether the Packers lose or not on Monday Night Football, they are going to be a top 7 seed. So they are very much so in the thick of things for a playoff spot. I think that alone might lead them to kind of not put him on IR just in case he could come back.
It was interesting because 6 weeks ago, right, Jefferson gets hurt. Then Kirk Cousins goes down. And we were sort of saying, well, do the Vikings even bring him back? They were sort of fading out of contention. We thought maybe they would just shut him down. Then Josh Dobbs shows up. They win a few games. They're still kind of hanging around in this, and Jefferson comes back. Now he's hurt again. Look, if you've made it to this point in the season, you've figured out how to work around him. The difference being before he was on IR. So if you had an IR spot on your roster, you could use that and free up something. Now he may just have to take up a spot on your bench, at least until we get some more clarification about his situation. Closer to where we currently are, Justin Herbert suffers a thumb injury on Monday. Head coach Brandon Staley said Herbert will be seeing a few hand specialists. Don't have any further update on his status. The Chargers play on Thursday Night Football, and as of now, it looks like it's going to be a marquee matchup of Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell. Yay.
Get excited.
Get fired up. I'm sure Bezos is thrilled that he's paying money for this. Keenan Allen, we're still starting Keenan Allen because he is Keenan Allen. Can we trust anybody else in the passing game after that?
I'm going to say Austin Eckler because he's an extension of the passing game a little bit. We'll talk more about him a little bit. I still think I have to go through and see how the Easton Stick targets were distributed, but I still think Gerald Everett is in play as a streaming tight end. He had 8 targets yesterday, gave you 9 fantasy points, which for a tight end is a pretty safe outing, and they have a favorable schedule moving forward. I don't want to do the Quentin Johnson thing just yet, but I think we have to also point out that the last 2 weeks he has looked better and has topped double-digit fantasy points in each.
He has. I think I've noticed that they really are manufacturing ways to get him the football because he was struggling to get open and earn targets. So now they're just going to run tunnel screens with him. They're just going to find ways to get the football in his hands and let him be athletic. He's good after the catch. It's the catching part that has been a problem for him. So he's definitely in play. I mean, obviously the ceiling is lower with Easton Stick at quarterback. I would say that, because it's on a Thursday night especially, like if you can avoid Quentin Johnson, if you can avoid Gerald Everett, maybe you do that. Allen, Eckler, still very much in play, even though the quarterback situation is a problem. So those are some of the things we are finding out and we're trying to learn more about. But meanwhile, we have a few things that we did learn from Week 14. What is something that you took away from what you saw?
Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp, and he is starting to look like Cooper Kupp once again. Healthy. That's what we need. He clearly was not healthy for a stretch after we thought he might miss multiple games, and he didn't miss any time, but it clearly was showing up on the box score with the results we were getting out of him. Team high, 10 targets this past week, 8 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Before that touchdown catch, he just missed one as well on a long play. Look, Puka Nacua is on pace to literally tie Jamar Chase's rookie record. He's 4th most through this many games in someone's career. They are both absolute must starts moving forward. And I know a lot of you for weeks now have been like, what do I do with Cooper Kupp? What do I do with Puka Nacua? The Rams passing attack is playing their best football of the season right now. You start them with confidence.
You start those guys. I mean, and basically the passing game funnels through them almost exclusively, especially with Tutu Atwell getting injured, and you'll see what the situation is with him. He suffered a concussion last week, but it's pretty much the Nacua and Kupp show. The fact that Cooper Kupp bounced back into that string of 6 straight games with less than 50 yards is definitely encouraging. For me, you can still count on the Jets, at least the Jets that you were already counting on, right? Any fears we've got about Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson because of the rotating door at quarterback and Zach Wilson coming back, I think you can sort of put those to bed, especially after what we saw on Sunday against the Texans. Both guys went over 100 scrimmage yards. Breece Hall had the touchdown on a catch there. It just is sort of encouraging to know that, look, for as bad as things are with this offense, and coming into Week 14, they had the 3rd fewest points scored in the NFL before they dropped 30, shockingly, on the Texans. But we can still sort of believe in them. So I think at this point we can stop trying to figure out, like, oh, no, what's it going to mean that they have Zach Wilson there or even Tim Boyle? Those two guys are the ones getting the football. So we can just sort of let this be. We can ride out with them.
I want to give credit to Zach Wilson. Like, he did say after the game, like, I went out there and I just played my game. I'm not letting the coaches talk get in my ear anymore. And he played his arguably the best game as a pro that he has played.
So basically he's just like, F it. I'm just going to do my thing. Like, which... props to him, man.
I love that approach.
Props to him, because obviously the other thing wasn't working. You do what makes you comfortable, Zach. What else did you learn about this weekend?
That I think you could start Isaiah Likely in the fantasy playoffs. And he is someone that we have been highlighting on this show and in other places about grabbing up the waiver wire and streaming and all that. And we've now seen 2 games for Likely without Mark Andrews. 6 targets, 8 fantasy points in the first one. And then yesterday, he gave you 7 targets, 5 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown for almost 20 fantasy points. I think we have now seen the floor. We have now seen the ceiling. I would expect most weeks to be somewhere in the middle of 8 and 20 fantasy points, but he now is showing us he has a safe floor, a high ceiling. That's all we could ask for a fantasy tight end. So especially one tied to one of the best offenses in football, you want to start that player.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think somebody posted that basically Isaiah Likely is like 90% Mark Andrews, right? Which, that's pretty dang good, man, when you look at the tight end position. So he is worth starting, I think, pretty much every week. My last one, the Pastronaut has crashed, and the Vikings offense is burning. It has not been a good run for Josh Dobbs over the last few weeks. He went through a stretch where he went 3 weeks with more than 20 points, was averaging about 22 points or so a game. The last 3 games he has played, that average has dropped to like 8.7 points per game. He's got 2 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions over his last 3 games, 3 straight with fewer than 225 yards. Some of it's not his fault. The Vikings are having issues with drops. That is a problem, but some of it is just that he has not been accurate and has just not really adjusted to the Minnesota offense the way he did to the Arizona offense. And so we'll see what the situation is with Justin Jefferson, how long he might be out. Look, there's still TJ Hawkinson, there's still Jordan Addison, but it's getting kind of bleak, especially if they have to go to Nick Mullins for any extended period of time.
You're never going to sit TJ Hawkinson because tight end, but it might be time to get away from Jordan Addison.
We'll see what happens. Of course, they play on Saturday night. We are just getting started here. We're going to talk some more about Sunday, the top performers that we saw, plus some of the guys who left us disappointed. That's next on the NFL Fantasy Football Show. The Saturday Showdown is back this week with an exclusive triple header live on NFL Network. Watch Vikings Bengals at 1 p.m. Eastern, followed by Steelers Colts and Broncos Lions in primetime. Saturday, December 16th, only on NFL Network and streaming on NFL Plus. Time to take a look at the top performers for Week 14. Still 2 Monday night games to come, but Lamar Jackson getting it done in overtime against the Rams. 316 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also 70 rushing yards, nearly 32 points there. Ezekiel Elliott, your number 1 running back, going back to Thursday night with 27 points for Zeke, which I believe is higher than Ramondre has had in any single game so far this season. I know it's higher than Tony Pollard has had in a single game this season for sure. Deebo Samuel doing it again. 34 points for Deebo, a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown as well. Evan Ingram apparently just broken the seal. Now all he does is score touchdowns. 11 for 95 and 2 tutties this week, 32.5 points. Brandon Aubrey, who was just a machine. Take that, all you hashtag band kickers people. Still love you, Jake Seeley. 4 field goals, 3 extra points, 21 points for him and the Saints defense. 4 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, a touchdown, and just 6 points allowed, 21 fantasy points there. Let's talk about some of the guys who may or may not have made that list that you just saw on your screen. The first one, Denniston Moore Jr., who apparently is pretty good when he's got his QB1 with him.
Yeah, coming into this game, he had been averaging over 22 fantasy points per game with Justin Fields this year and 13 or more in all but one. He gave you a light 26.8 this week, and look at, he already has tied his career high with 7 touchdowns. He is 120 yards away from setting a new career high there. He is having a career year. He is the wide receiver 1 that we always dreamed that he could be with a competent quarterback. Him and Justin Fields, when they are both healthy and active, I mean, they are both just putting up fantasy numbers right now. I know they have a tough matchup next week against the Browns, a really stingy secondary. There's no way you're not starting DJ Moore in that matchup.
No, he's just been so good with Justin Fields. He even wasn't terrible with Tyson Bagent.
Yeah.
But he's that much better with Justin Fields. Speaking of backup quarterbacks, Jake Browning, who, hey, look, he did it again. And when we saw Joe Burrow go down for the season, we figured, okay, well, it's pretty much a wrap. I mean, we were saying, you could probably move on from T. Higgins. Jamar Chase takes a big hit. But 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23, almost 24 fantasy points. It's a couple of weeks in a row, though, where he's put up good fantasy numbers, and he's spreading the ball around. Last week, it was a lot of Jamar Chase. This week, T. Higgins gets a lot of work. Chase Brown has the big, long catch and run for a touchdown. So Browning is looking more comfortable. He's spreading the football around. He's getting a lot of his playmakers involved. And whereas a couple of weeks ago, we figured maybe it was a wrap on the Bengals for fantasy, now we can feel a little bit more confident. Now, next week they play the Vikings, which is sort of a middle-of-the-road matchup. They've been kind of so-so against passing games. But if you're looking to stream, if you lost Justin Herbert, if maybe you don't have C.J. Stroud this week, Jake Browning is in play to be a streamer for a lot of people.
Highest completion percentage through first 3 starts since 1950.
Amazing.
People on Twitter are like, can I start him over Patrick Mahomes? That I don't know if
I don't have the stones to do that just yet. But look, we're talking about it here. Apparently, the Buffalo Bills talked about how to use James Cook, and I like the results. I'm happy with this.
James Cook is a really good running back. He has made them look so foolish for the usage early on in this year and for the 2 dumb benchings that he got earlier this year. 45% of the snaps this past week, 10 carries, 5 targets, 25 fantasy points. His touchdown catch was one that not many running backs can make. 25 fantasy points yesterday in 3 games since Joe Brady has taken over as the OC. 20.1 fantasy points per game with at least 16 in each. He is, I think you could call him an RB1 moving forward, but either way, he is once again a player. Because in the middle of the year, he was someone that was, people were like, can I sit James Cook? Now he is back to someone that you just start each and every week.
It just feels like, too, like the issues with James Cook haven't really been with James Cook. It's like coaches, or you mentioned the benchings, just like, the guy has 1 fumble and all of a sudden he goes to the bench for half a game. They keep using Latavius Murray. Like, this just doesn't feel like a James Cook problem. This feels like, I don't know if he and Sean McDermott, had a heated game of Battleship and they just, didn't want to play him or something. I can't figure it out.
Squid Game style,
which I finally watched that show, by the way.
Did you like it?
It's entertaining.
That's what I thought.
Way more entertaining than I thought it would be. All right. Speaking of entertaining, Drake London had a game that was entertaining. And look, man, we spent a lot of time hammering Arthur Smith on this show. We're not the only ones. But the fact is, the last few weeks, the playmakers are getting involved. Bijan Robinson's starting to see more work. Drake London, who had that ridiculous catch, but 10 catches, 172 yards. I'm thrilled to see it. Kyle Pitts had a touchdown. The Falcons are getting their playmakers involved. It only took 14 weeks and for them to be just barely hanging on to the top of the division. Look, I don't know if this continues, but let's just enjoy it while it is here. Because, London was a guy that we had expectations for. We thought he was going to be a high-end wide receiver, too. The offense has sort of kept him down. But, at least for 1 week, he balled out. So thank goodness for that. It's been a slog for Austin Eckler. So that's why yesterday was kind of nice to see.
Yeah, and a lot of people were wanting to jump ship this week, especially when the rumors of the hot hand approach came out. They did go hot hand because in the first half, the carries were split almost evenly between Eckler, Spiller, and Josh Kelly. You know who emerged as the hot hand? Austin Eckler, because he is the best running back on that team. Still, even if he's hurt, whatever, he is by far their best option in that backfield. Played over 70% of the snaps, 10 carries, 7 targets, 21 fantasy points. And I think you just ride out with him the rest of the way. Even if it's not Justin Herbert, I think we'll get a bunch of dump offs to him. They get the Raiders next week on a short week. You're playing him in that matchup. Then they get the Bills, who struggle mightily against pass-catching backs. You're playing him in that one. And then he ends the season against the Broncos, who he just had a big game against. You're playing him in that one. So you are going down with the ship one way or another. Maybe he's going to lead you to a ship. We don't know. We have to watch and see.
I mean, look, start all your running backs against the Raiders. Even in that offensively challenged game they played yesterday, Alexander Madison had 66 rushing yards on 10 carries. So it's worth sticking with Austin Eckler at this point, even if they're doing this quote-unquote hot hand approach. Once upon a time, Evan Ingram could never score touchdowns. Now, Evan Ingram scores all of the touchdowns. He had one last week. He had 2 again this week. And it just sort of is reinforcing my belief that touchdowns are fickle beasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was always getting targets. He was always involved in the passing game. And I think even at some point, Trevor Lawrence acknowledged that, hey, we got to get this guy a touchdown. Like, he's doing so much for this offense. We got to find a way to get him into the end zone. And now he's like a Costco player, right? He's scoring touchdowns in bulk. It's just reassuring to see that, and he's been hanging around in the top 10 of tight ends all year long, even if it wasn't particularly sexy. Now the bigger numbers are starting to come. So let's be happy for Evan Ingram there.
I will say I was off of Evan Ingram this week because of the matchup against the Browns. He has another tough matchup next week. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The target numbers are happening for him. Those are the guys we liked. How about the guys who frustrated us? And the Sun God, it's been cloudy for the last couple of weeks for the Sun God.
Yeah, yesterday, just 21 yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. He first game this year in single-digit fantasy points, but like Marcus said, he's been under 50 2 weeks in a row now. You're not overreacting to this. I know next week is a really tough matchup against the Broncos. You still absolutely have to start Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's worth pointing out, one, yesterday was a road game in cold weather for Jared Goff, and he never plays well in those. But two, the Bears have given the Lions their 2 toughest, like at least stat-wise, the passing numbers, their 2 worst games this year have come against the Bears. So I'm willing to these are division games. These teams know each other very well. I'm going to look past this. You're starting Amon-Ra St. Brown each and every week.
Just like you're starting Mike Evans each and every week. And it was not a good week for Mike Evans. I mean, he had just the 1 catch on Sunday for 6 yards. But he did have 6 targets, or 1 catch for 8 yards, I should say. He did have 6 targets, which, look, they're still trying to get him the football. It was not the big weeks we were used to seeing. He didn't have the 8 to 10 targets like he had most of the year. It just was a weird game. They went back and forth. I think both teams maybe had a claim to winning it. Both teams sort of gave it away at the end. I'm not really worried long-term about Mike Evans. We've seen what he and Baker Mayfield could do. This just happened to be a hiccup. Hopefully it did not cost you a playoff spot. But all is well. If you survive and you're playing again next week, Mike Evans is going to be back in your lineup next week. Time now for some of your questions that you sent to us on Twitter.com at NFL Fantasy. The first one coming from Olivier, who asks, can I trust Pat Mahomes in the playoffs? Which seems like a weird thing to have asked if you said this back in August, but here we are in December, and this is a legitimate question.
Yes, you can. I have been leading the, Mahomes is a bust train or whatever you want to call it. But that being said, I'm never not starting Patrick Mahomes, especially he is going to break out of this slump at some point, and he'll probably do it with 400 yards and 4 touchdowns or something like that. And look at the matchup. Patriots, they're not scary. The Raiders, Mahomes owns them. And then the Bengals have allowed the most passing yards since week 10. Yeah, you're still starting Patrick Mahomes.
You're starting Patrick Mahomes, and I get it. But here's the thing. I appreciate that we've gotten to the point where we're having the conversation as opposed to it's just you're starting Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. We're at least thinking about it now because that's sort of what the offense is. I tweeted yesterday, the weirdest thing about the season is the feeling that Patrick Mahomes is no longer inevitable because that's kind of where we are right now. Next one from Rudy, and this is definitely first world problems here. Do I stick with Hawkinson or go with McBride? I'm just letting you know right now, Rudy, the people in your league hate you. They don't like you. You have 2 top-notch tight ends, and you probably have a lot of other people that are poverty at the position. So people don't like you right now.
I would go with McBride there.
Yeah.
McBride with Kyler Murray, the floor has been 9. He's multiple times gone over 20. It's just a safer and higher ceiling, I would say, than Hawkinson with the mess that is the Vikings quarterback position right now.
It's about the quarterback for me. I would rather have Kyler Murray over either of the Vikings quarterbacks, whether it's Dobbs or Mullins. So I'm going to go with Trey McBride in that one too. Next one from JMS. Can I trust Diggs when he's matched up against elite corners? Multiple single-digit games that cost me losses and pushing me almost out of the playoffs. Diggs most likely getting matched against Gilmore next game. Should I bench him? Ooh.
No. I just like Mike Evans, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you need to start Stephon Diggs because he is a heavy targeted wide receiver who's in one of the best offenses in football. That being said, it has been extremely frustrating the last month, 6 weeks. Especially yesterday, like I tweeted out that he forgot how hands work because every pass was just bouncing off of his passes behind the line of scrimmage were going off of his hands. It's been frustrating, but just like Mahomes and these other stars, he could break out in one big game. And speaking of Gilmore, did you see that he said AJ Brown called him old and he took it personally?
Yes, he did. He totally pulled a Michael Jordan, and I took that personally, and he shut down AJ Brown and the rest of the Eagles. I'm with Florio on this one. I can't get away from Stephon Diggs because the volume is so good, and we've seen what the ceiling can be. I understand your concern, but I got to stick with one of the best receivers in the game. Last one. Who gets the start? Jerome Ford or Chuba Hubbard? Yee.
It is Chuba Hubbard for me. The Falcon. No. I'm starting Jerome Ford here. Chuba Hubbard gets the Falcons next week. They are the only team in the league to not allow a rushing touchdown to a running back this season.
Yeah, and they almost did. I thought Rachaad White was going to get one, and then Baker Mayfield vultured it away from him. So the Falcons sort of stay unblemished there. I'm going to go with Ford there too. Just that offense is better more than anything else. The Browns offense is better than the Panthers offense. So that for me makes it a Jerome Ford opportunity there. All right. We're going to talk some waiver wire when we come back. Matt Okada is going to join us and let you know who you should be adding as we start the fantasy playoffs. That's coming up next on the NFL Fantasy Football Show. It's time for the waiver wire presented by YouTube TV. Matt Okada put together his list of targets for the week. At quarterback, Jake Browning, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, who has been red hot lately, and Joe Flacco, who as of this moment, as we record, is actually on the Browns practice squad. Likely to be elevated in time for Week 15, though. Over at running back, Ezekiel Elliott, Jerick Jet McKinnon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We'll see what Isaiah Pacheco's status is going to be. Chase Brown, who had a big game for the Bengals, and then Keaton Mitchell, who continues to be a playmaker for the Ravens. Let's flip over to some of the pass catchers. At wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., as well as Demarcus Robinson. Parker Washington, who was getting more snaps in the wake of the Christian Kirk injury. Joshua Palmer, hopefully back because the Chargers could use him, even if it is Easton Stick at quarterback. And Noah Brown for the Texans. And a couple of tight ends, Isaiah Likely and Tanner Hudson for the Cincinnati Bengals. Joined now, as we always are this time, by Matt Okada, who writes our weekly waiver wire column. You can find that at NFL.com/waiver wire. No more buys, Matt. We are done. We can wash our hands of that. So the rosters of all 32 teams are available to us, even if not all the players are. But one guy you really like this week, and it makes sense, Matthew Stafford, who has been lights out. I think it was like the last 3 weeks, 14 touchdowns and 1 or 2 interceptions, whatever it is. Stafford getting hot here at the end part of the season for fantasy folks.
Yeah, the all the teams thing is true. The all the quarterbacks thing is very not true. Somehow we continue to lose more. But fortunately, I think Matthew Stafford is the savior, at least for this week, when he gets to play the Washington Commanders, which we'll get to. But yes, your point, it's 10 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks, 3, 3, and 4. He scored 23, 23, and 24 fantasy points in those 3 games. And this is after he scored through 9 touchdown passes before Week 12, the entire season. And then Kyren Williams came back in Week 12. It feels like we've got the full offense with Cooper Kupp healthy and Kyren Williams here. And it's working out great for Matthew Stafford, who looks great, is connecting with all of his playmakers, and is scoring big fantasy points. And the last 2 weeks have come against the Browns and the Ravens, who are 2 of the toughest matchups in the entire league for quarterback. The Commanders are not among the toughest matchups. They are among the easiest matchups. Last 4 games, they've allowed 19 points to Tua, 22 to Tommy DeVito, 24 to Geno Smith, and 32 to Dak Prescott. So you don't have to be hardly anybody at quarterback to put up fantasy points against this team. Matthew Stafford is playing like everybody could possibly in these last month or so. So I think he's going to be a smash stream this next week. I consider him somewhere near the top 6 to 8 quarterbacks for this week.
Yeah, we were talking during the break, and the three of us all agreed we would play Matthew Stafford over Patrick Mahomes this week. Someone who I already have gotten questions about, can I start this player over Patrick Mahomes? And I wouldn't go that far, but Jake Browning has been balling out for the Bengals as of late.
Yeah, he might be the line, perhaps, for where we can or cannot start Patrick Mahomes. And the only reason we'd probably still go with Mahomes is because he can pop off for 504 every now and then. But Jake Browning has been kind of close to that these last couple weeks. Who knows how? He threw for 350 yards, scored a touchdown by air and by ground a couple weeks ago in his Week 13 breakout. And then his encore this past Sunday against the Colts, 275 yards, 2 passing scores, and another rushing score to boot. So he has topped 50 fantasy points over these last 2 weeks and has the Bengals offense honestly humming in the absence of Joe Burrow. We'd like to see a little more for Jamar Chase maybe, but overall the Bengals offense is putting up points. Now, both the Jaguars, who they played a couple weeks ago, and the Colts this last week are soft matchups for quarterbacks, or at least softer than the Vikings, who he plays this next week. So I'm not betting on a 25-point game. I'm probably not even betting on a 20-point game. But the way things are going in this quarterback landscape right now, you don't necessarily need that to feel okay about starting a guy. Browning can absolutely put up 16 to 18 and be a decent stream, maybe playable over Mahomes.
So once upon a time, we wanted every single piece of the Chiefs' offense. It's maybe not quite that way anymore, but Isaiah Pacheco missed this past week with a shoulder injury. And, Matt, the fact that they ruled him out so early in the week suggested maybe this is going to be a little bit of an extended absence. Jerick McKinnon was great last year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got a lot of touches on Sunday, so maybe he is also in play in that backfield.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation, and there was a lot of talk in the fantasy community about what to expect for this week and also what we can expect for Pacheco. The only real update we've gotten is that he's probably not going to IR. And when that's the only update you get, you don't feel great about him coming back immediately. So I think we might get another week or two potentially without him. And if that's the case, this is what we saw from McKinnon and CEH this past week. CEH handled, like you said, the majority of carries, 11 to McKinnon's 4. He also actually out-targeted McKinnon, surprisingly, but McKinnon had the edge in routes run and was once again the go-to guy in the red zone and the 10 zone and at the goal line, which is kind of his thing. He's been doing it now for the Chiefs for a couple years. He did score a 7-yard rushing touchdown as a result, and he did this last year down the stretch. Andy Reid seems to like him in the red zone, and so does Patrick Mahomes. And when those two things are the case, and you're playing for those two guys, it's good for fantasy. So I like adding McKinnon regardless of the Pacheco news, and we have to keep our ear out for what that will be. And remember, McKinnon, that is, won us fantasy leagues last year. He can do that again. If Pacheco returns this week, I don't like adding CEH. He essentially becomes unusable. If Pacheco does not return, I think CEH is worth a pickup and probably is startable in a game that the Chiefs figured to annihilate the Patriots in this next Sunday. I think they're going to be angry after this past week and want to put up points. So both guys in play if Pacheco's out. If he is back, I think McKinnon is the guy to go to.
Yeah, the Chiefs being angry this week is the safest bet in the history of football. This next player, Keaton Mitchell, he didn't get quite the post-bye bump that I was hoping, but it was an encouraging performance for the Ravens rookie running back, someone that I'm excited for. I know you are excited for, and I think our listeners should get very excited for.
Yeah, exciting is exactly the right word. Hopefully we can get the opportunity to realize that excitement. Here's the thing about this last weekend. Very odd day for the Ravens and their offense in what ended up being an overtime win over the Rams. Lamar Jackson threw the ball 43 times, which ties his career high. And as I believe a result of all those dropbacks, Justice Hill led the running backs in snaps, despite the fact that he got 0 carries. The wild usage. But Keaton Mitchell still outsnapped and outcarried Gus Edwards over the course of the game, and he took his 10 touches for 62 yards. Shockingly expected efficiency from this guy at this point. Every time he touches the ball, he's electric. We've called him the Devon Achane light earlier in the season. He continues to be Baltimore's, in my opinion, best back. So the question is, when will he get the usage he deserves? I'm hoping it's this next week in a game against the Jaguars that figures to put up points, but also that the Ravens should be favored to win. Jaguars defense has also allowed double-digit fantasy points to 6 running backs over their last 5 games, so the matchup's not tough at all. I think he's a low-end flex for now until we see that usage bump up a little bit, but the type of low-end flex who can blow up for an RB1 week from that spot, which is a huge boon in the fantasy playoffs, especially if you're an underdog.
Let's stick in Baltimore, where Odell Beckham Jr., look, he's not the player that he was in his prime, but Matt, I think we've seen over the last month that he can still show flashes of being a playmaking wide receiver, which is something the Ravens desperately need.
It is. 4 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown this past Sunday. Great for OBJ, no question. But what I'm most excited about was his 10 targets, which was tied with Zay Flowers for the most on the team. Now, what's interesting about those targets is he compiled them on just 25 routes, which was the 4th most on the team. That is a target on 40% of his routes, which is elite in that metric. But your projection for OBJ down the stretch really depends on whether you view those numbers with like a glass half full or half empty mentality. On the one hand, he's going to need more routes to offer any sort of reliable consistency for fantasy. And right now he's currently running fewer than Nelson Aguilar. So that's not encouraging. But on the other hand, he was an absolute stud on that lighter usage last week, played a big part in their win. He looked very good doing it, made a couple sick adjustments for catches that might have otherwise been incomplete, and continues to turn in big plays. So I think it's possible OBJ gets a little bit bigger workload down the stretch in upcoming games against the Jags, Niners, and Dolphins that all figure to be high scoring and potentially involve a little more throwing for Lamar. Mark Andrews out. No one else really stepping up as a true number 1. I think Odell could be very fantasy relevant through the playoffs.
Yeah, and their opponent next week, if you looked at Zay Jones, just the box score, you'd be like, oh, he didn't have a huge game, but volume, and that wins the day in fantasy.
Yeah, very similar to Odell. Jones, not even as good in the fantasy points. He caught 5 passes for 29 yards, which even in PPR is somewhere between bad and mediocre. But here's the thing that you miss if you just look at that stat line. Team high, 14 targets, and ran 50 routes, which was second to only Calvin Ridley at 53. The problem was Trevor Lawrence could not get on the same page with any of his wide receivers in this game. All of his good juju went to Evan Ingram for some reason. Lawrence had a 37% completion rate, throwing to Ridley, Jones, and also Parker Washington all combined. So I don't expect that to continue. That is a very odd thing for Trevor Lawrence. I think part of it may have been the tough matchup against Cleveland. Part of it may have been that Lawrence was miraculously playing on what we all thought was a serious ankle injury. Maybe wasn't 100%. Maybe couldn't plant and get downfield to his receivers like we'd like to see. If all of that irons out a little bit moving forward, this kind of opportunity for Zay Jones combined with more reasonable efficiency would be absolutely huge. And he does get another tough opponent in Week 15. It's the Ravens, though they got tagged by the Rams wideouts this past week. But the real move here potentially is stashing Jones for Week 16 when they face the Buccaneers, who have been utter Swiss cheese against air attacks this year. I think he could be a legit wide receiver 2 in that matchup and help you through semis. So pick him up.
So then we started with a Ram. Let's end with a Ram. Demarcus Robinson, who stepped up, especially with Tutu Atwell out. Stafford's hot, so why not just add as many pieces around him as possible?
Yeah, I mean, he scored 15.5 fantasy points a couple weeks ago, followed it up on Sunday with 13.6 in a second straight difficult matchup. We talked about it with Stafford earlier. Has caught a touchdown in each, and once again, like OBJ, the real story here is the usage. 10 targets, 42 route runs, both tied Cooper Kupp for the most on the team. That means ahead of Puka. And next week, like we talked about with Stafford, they get the Commanders. They are up there with the Eagles for best matchups in fantasy for wide receivers, allowing 42 points per game to the position. I think he is a unbelievably good stream this week. If you need that, a DFS play, a guy to maybe combo with Zay Jones, pick him up. Don't feel afraid to roll him out there.
Absolutely. Looking for deep help at wide receiver, Demarcus Robinson could be your guy. Matthew, appreciate it, sir. We'll talk to you next week. You can check him out on Twitter at Matt Okada. Check out the waiver wire column at NFL.com/waiver wire. As for Florio and I, that is it. We are done. We appreciate you hanging out with the NFL Fantasy Football Show presented by Subway. You know the drill. Tell two friends to tell two friends. Rate, review, and remember, when life closes a door, open it again. It's a door. That's how they work. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the week, everybody. And we'll talk to you again real soon.